Hello there, welcome to this tutorial, and today I'm going to show you the best tool for applying steel reinforcement bars in concrete components. I'm Maurice Dimba, and please join me by subscribing to this channel, and also don't forget to give this content a thumbs up. Remember, by doing so you'll be helping other learners to find this content easily, and also will help them learn. So we'll get started right away. If you take a look on the screen here, you can see a concrete deck. So what we are going to do with this concrete component or deck, we are going to place rebars inside it, or we are going to reinforce this. So the tool we are going to use is called CIP, or some people call it SIP. So let me just access it under applications and component here, and the tool here is CIP. So we have three macros here. We have CIP stirrup and CIP main bars and CIP crossbars. So the main one we are going to use just the CIP crossbars because it covers everything that we need, and I'm going to get started right away. So let me just turn this into a position that I'll be able to see everything. First of all, let me delete any component that I don't need or I don't want to see on the screen. So let me come to navigate and try to turn this around like this. I'm just trying to place it into a position that I'll be able to access all the points that I'll need to define the direction for of placement of these rebars. Now I'll go straight to CIP crossbars, then click on that. So once I've invoked that command, if you take a look at the bottom end here, you'll be able to see Tekla structures asking you or directing you to pick the part you want to place the bars on. So I'm going to pick on this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to define my points. So I'm going to start from this location, from that point, click on that spot and click here. So the moment I've clicked on that spot, I'm going to press my middle button on the mouse. I'll click on that spot and I'm going to define the direction of my rebars. So I'll start my direction from the same spot and stretch all the way to this particular point here. So I'll click on that spot and leave it right there. So if you zoom out and press Ctrl 2, still you cannot see anything placed inside there. So let's go back and press Ctrl 4. We go back to our previous render. So let me come back there. So I'll click on this. I'll start all the way from this point and straight to that position. Press my middle button on the mouse, start from that spot and terminate it somewhere here. Right click there, then press my middle button on the mouse. You can see we have some rebars in place, so but they are in the opposite direction. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to right click interrupt and click undo and come back again and do the same thing but in the right direction. So let me click on the component I want to reinforce, and this time I want to start it from that spot and click on this second point. So on this second point, I'm going to press my middle button on the mouse, click on that, and if you take a look on the bottom end here, you can see pick 2 points to define the direction of your rebars. So I'm going to start defining the 2 points from the same spot. I'll click on that spot and stretch all the way to this far end here and click on the second spot right here. So once you have done that, I'm going to press my middle button on the mouse like that, and if I zoom out, I'll be able to see I have some rebars here. I have some rebars already placed inside. So to see them clearly, just press Ctrl 2 on your keyboard, and if you come to navigate under view here, I'll be able to turn this and I have my rebars in place. I have my rebars in place, and I have some weird shape here, and to correct this is a very simple thing to do. Just come here and disable the assembly, and we'll double click inside here and we change this to we change this from taper to just normal and click modify, and we'll do the same thing here. Double click on that and change it to normal. Perfect. So what the far end one, what we'll do, just delete it because we will not use it as that much. So let me just turn that round and we'll go back here I'll come to navigate and I'll try to turn this round. Remember, we did one prior to showing this to you. So let me just turn this and place it into a position that will help me access all the points that will help us insert rebars or reinforcement bars inside this concrete component. So let me go back and press Ctrl 4. We get back where we were. Now, let me close this and come to applications and component once again and click on CIP crossbars. I'll click on that. So we want to place the rebars, top and bottom. So we've started with the top. Now I'll click on the component I want to place the steel bars on or in. I'll start all the way from this spot, then stretch all the way to this far end here. Then press my middle button, and on the same point I'll click on that spot, then stretch all the way to another point to define the direction of my rebars. I'll click on that spot, then press my middle button once again, and if you zoom out you'll be able to see rebars already in place. So to see that clearly, always come to navigate and pick your rotation point and press your left button on the mouse and hold and turn this round like this. So as it is now, we can't see inside, and what will help us is just press Ctrl 2 so that we can see whatever is we can see the arrangement of rebars inside this concrete component. So you can see what we have inside here. So you can also go ahead and try to just enable the assembly back and try to change the center to center distance of steel bar arrangement by coming to group here, and you can change everything here. So you can change the spacing here either 150 or 200, but in our case just leave it at 200 center to center of spacing. So I'll maintain it at that spot. Now we are going to the next stage or the next step, and we are still continuing with the rebar placement, and the preview of whatever you're seeing on the screen here is just similar to what we are trying to do. So that is a preview of what we expect. So I'll show it once we are done with this. So let me just turn this round like this, and we want to define the rebar placement locations. So let me press Ctrl 4 in this particular point. I'll come to CIP crossbar tool and select the part I want to place the rebars in. So I'll select the component I want to place the rebars in. Once I've selected on that, I'll start defining the points that will be defining the rebar arrangement. So I'll start with the far at the bottom end here. I'll click on that and stretch all the way to that location there. Then press my middle button on the mouse and still hold my cursor on the same spot. So I'll define my first point here and go to the second point somewhere here, but it is not snapping on the accurate position. So I'll snap it right there, then press my middle button right there to accept, to give an acceptance of what I've just defined. So I've still, as it is now, I can't see whatever is inside. So for me to see the arrangement of rebars inside, I have to press Ctrl 2 so that we can see whatever it is actually has been created inside. So let me just rotate this, and the same thing has happened. We have this tapered kind of arrangement, so we don't need this. So to rectify this, just shift back to shift from select component to select objects in the component. Enable this. So once you've enabled that, just double click on this and come to rebar group type and pick normal and click modify, and that will be rearranged properly. So this one can get rid of it. It's simple. Then come to navigate here and we can rotate this comfortably. So that is the second step. Now we want to place the rebars, the vertical strands. Now what I'm going to do here, we'll just switch back to the previous render type. So I'm going to press Ctrl 4 to bring back this render. Now I'll go back to CIP and click click on that, then close this, and then come back, then click applications and component, click on that. Then we want to place more reinforcement on this. So I'll click here. I'll click from here. I'll click from I'll start defining my rebar placement from that spot and stretch to this particular point right here. I'll place it right there. Then I'll press my milled button, still on the same point. I'll press my milled button right there and define my first point on that location. So I'll try to find the corresponding point on the opposite direction, and I'll terminate it right there. Then press my milled button on the mouse. But you can see it has been placed, but they're facing the opposite direction, which you don't need to even see on the screen. So what we'll do, just click and do that. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to repeat the same process, but the right way. So I'll come to CIP crossbar here, tool, then click on that. So this time round, I'm going to start from this far end. I'll click, first of all, click the component you want to place rebars on. So click on that. So I'll start defining it from this point, and I'll move all the way to this far end here and click on that spot. So once you've done that, you can see pick polygon positions. Don't worry about that. Once you define the first and second point, I'll press my milled button in the mouse right there. And again, the same question will come up. I'll start with the same spot to define with my first position. I'll click the same spot as my first position and stretch and come to the corresponding point, which is this one, and click on that. Click on that and press my milled button on the mouse. So the moment I've clicked my milled button on the mouse, right click and interrupt to terminate that command. Still, I cannot see whatever is inside. So for me to see whatever is inside, I'll have to press Ctrl 2 so that we can see whatever has been created inside. So we can see actually whatever is inside here, perfectly arranged. So we want to extend this bottom bars slightly to come all the way up, but that one will come later on. Let's first of all rectify, do the basics first prior to trying to make the nitty-gritty or trying to make it have a better look. Now, let's first of all go back to the top end here and try to place some rebars on top end here. Right click to terminate that command by clicking interrupt, and we'll come back to Ctrl 4 to bring this type of render. Remember also you can shift this by coming to render and pick parts rendered. So this is the Ctrl 4 I'm talking about. So the Ctrl 2 or the Ctrl 2 is this one. So if you haven't mastered the shortcut keys on the keyboard, you can also come to the main bars, to the main menu here, and pick these options. Now that is where you access the renderings. Now we want to lay our bars on top of our deck here. So I'll come back here and select on that, then pick the component I want to place the rebars on. So I want to define this point from that location and stretch to that point there, then press my milled button on the mouse. The same process, but it depends on how you define your points. So I'll press my milled button on the mouse right there and start my first point from the same point, then stretch all the way to this far end here and click it right there. Then press my milled button on the mouse once again, right click and click interrupt to walk away from that particular command. Then press Ctrl 2 to have a view of what has been created inside. You can see whatever we've created in just a second away. So you can see that. So let's create another arrangement of steel bars. So I'm going to come back to CIP crossbar section or macro. I'm coming back to same section. I'll select on the component I want to reinforce. So this time round, I want to start from this end, and come all the way to this end here. Then click my milled button. Then snap on the same spot once again and define this as my second point. Then press my middle button in the mouse, and you can see we have the rebars in place. So you can see that some bit of clashes or clashes of the rebars. So this is very easy to change or to rectify. Just double click on one section of bars, then come to group and offset this maybe by 30, and you'll see that offset. Come to navigate and you'll be able to rotate this, or press Ctrl R and pick your rotation point. Ctrl R, then press your rotation point and hold your left button on the mouse, and you can be able to see how this has been arranged. So this is how it's done. So the next point, or the next step you're going to do here, or we are going to perform here, just to mirror this and also mirror this. So let's go step by step and show you how you can mirror this component instead of doing the same thing repeatedly. It's actually tiresome, and if you're not patient enough, you can walk away and assign it another day, which is not good. It kills your productivity. It's not right. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mirror the first, the top one first, prior to going to the bottom end. So if you see me turning around like this, I'm seeing which step can I, which approach can I give it so that we move a little bit faster. So the first thing here, I want to reorient my XYZ plane to enable me mirror these components easily, or these rebars easily. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to disable select component key here, button here, and come to that button to disable the assembly first. So prior to mirroring, make sure your XYZ plane is favoring whatever you are trying to do. So first of all, let me place in the guiding points. So to place the guiding points, I'll press Ctrl 2 first, Ctrl 4 to bring me back to the actual render, or the actual look of this particular component. I'll come to edit here and come to points and pick on the online points. Then I'll snap on that spot and snap on that spot. I have a point right there. Now I'll come back again and define a similar point. I'll snap on this point right there and snap right there. So I have these 2 points that will be guiding me in creating a mirror of the components of the rebars I've just created. So let me come back to Ctrl 2. So the one thing I'm going to select these bars while holding my Control button to enable me select everything without selecting anything that I don't want to mirror to the bottom end. So I'll select them bit by bit, select on that. So I'll come to crossbars and select on that, and come here and select on that and zoom out. We'll give it some time because these rebars are so many, and it depends with the speed of your system or your computer. Now let me come back and press Control 4 to take me back to my previous render. So I'll come to View and come to Work Plane Tool and pick Work Plane Tool. And this time around, I want to place my Work Plane Tool somewhere here. Let me just place somewhere here. Right there will be okay. I'll right click and click Interrupt to terminate that Work Plane Tool command. Then I'll come here and press Control 2 so that I can see whatever I created previously. I'll right click and come to Special Copy and pick on Mirror. So I want to mirror these rebars. So I'll define this point and this point to act as my mirror line. So I'll define that. And you can see it's way off the point, and you can see the angle is also not accurate. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change this angle manually by pressing 180. So I'll go ahead and click Copy. So go ahead and click Mirror, or click OK, right click and come to Interrupt. And what we are going to do, we are going to just click on Empty Screen and come to Navigate, and you can rotate this. You can see we've created that. So the hooks can be modified to take a different angle. Instead of 19, we can give it a different angle, so don't worry about that. The key point is how you can reinforce your concrete deck easily in Tekla structures. So if you come here also, we can do exactly the same thing, but we want this to extend, these rebars to extend slightly to the top end, closer to the cover of the top end here. Formwork. So you can see that we have that in place. So we want to extend these bars to the top end here. So what I'm going to do here is very simple. I'll bring back this assembly button, then double click on that. I'll come to extend to covers. I'll click yes and give it a modify button, and it has gone. Let me just check whether it is responding perfectly. It is not. I'll just leave it at no and come here, double click on it, pick here and click yes, and this will take it all the way up. And what I'm going to do, just to check it whether it has reached that far end, I'll click on that and turn that round, and you can see that we have that in place. So we want to do this. We want to do the same thing at the bottom end here. So we'll do the same thing. We'll define the 2 points that will help us perform an accurate mirror. So I'll come to edit and come to the first option, and I'll define a point here from that end to that end. We need a point right there. So I'll come to points once again and define a point from that point end here. And once you've done that, we'll select all this. Press Ctrl and select all that, or press Ctrl 2 to see everything you're trying to select, and we have all this. So let's try and disable that. Right click and come to spatial copy and pick on mirror, and we want to create a mirror line from that spot, and go all the way to that spot, and you can see our angle is not accurate. We can just change that manually by typing 180, and if you come here and click that, you can see something weird, and we can go ahead and click expand and close this, and close that once again and zoom out and try to, we can see what we've created, which is not right. So what we are going to do, the problem is our angle is not correct, and we are going to work just on that. So I'll click undo, and I know the problem is we selected our component while this assembly is on. So what we're going to do, just right click and come to disrupt, deselect everything. So while it is off, on select objects in component, we'll select that, press Ctrl and select that component, select that, just give some time to respond, and select on this. Select on that component once again, that one, and select on this, select on that. It is trying to read the instructions we are trying to apply, because the steel bars has subjected our system to heavy graphic reading. Let me just give it some time and zoom out, and this is what we have. So now what we are lacking is just the point that will the 2 points that will help us define a mirror line. So to place our mirror points, just press Ctrl 4, then we'll go back where we were before. So let me come back to edit once again and come to points here, and I want to define a point from this location. Just zoom closely so that you make sure you're snapping on accurate positions. So we have a point there which will be created right there, and we need a point right from this far end, and we'll snap right there and move at the bottom end and snap on the adjacent position right there. So that way will help you define a mirror line. So I'm trying to exit from that mirror line command. So let's get started by now performing our mirror. So let me right click and come to special copy and pick on mirror. So let me try and define my mirror line from that spot and moving all the way to this spot. Just move closely and define it right there and change this to 180 so that we click copy and click OK. So we have this in place, and if you come to, we'll close that, and we'll come to view and come to navigate. We can be able to rotate this. If you don't see your rotation point, just press Ctrl R and define your rotation point like that. So we have this in place. So if I disable that, you can be able to see what we have actually here. So that's how you do that, and it is as simple as that. So let me place the rebars on the opposite direction of this section. How do we do that? We can go the repetitive way, and remember, going back and forth doing the same thing is tiresome, and it's always good to find your way out by doing it the shortest way. So what we are going to do here, we are going to instead of following the same process to create a rebar following the same process on this end, we are going to mirror this. And to do that, we'll press Ctrl 4. So once we've done that, right click and come to interrupt to terminate that rotation command. I'll come to edit, and I'll come to points and pick on the first option right there, and I'll define 2 points here to help me get the midpoint of this section. Right click and terminate by clicking interrupt. I wanted just the midpoint of this thickness of this deck. Now I want another section, another midpoint from this end to this end. How do I get that? I come to points. Once you only click the view, that will help you get you don't get view, you don't get the edit points by clicking view. You only get the points by clicking edit. Then that will take you to points. Then click this drop down arrow, and you'll be able to see to land on variety of options on how you can create a point. So I need the midpoint of a midpoint between 2 points. So the first option will work much better for me. I'll pick on that. So I need a midpoint between this point and this point. So I'll define that and move to corresponding point, which is that. So this will be the midpoint between these 2 points. So these two help me to define the midpoint of this section. Now that is done. The next step is press Ctrl 2, and we'll come to view to access our navigate by mouse, and we will rotate this. So the key thing, the direction we're heading here is just to mirror this rebars on the opposite direction and mirror all this to the other end. It's as simple as that. So I'll select everything here, press Ctrl and select these bars. I'll select that bar, zoom out and select that bar. I'll select that, press Ctrl and select that. Just give some time to process that information. Don't hurry it up because it's now demanding so much from your system, from our system, because of these many bars. We have this in place and we have everything picked on. Don't worry about the clashes of the clashing of rebars. I've showed you how to rectify that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press Ctrl 4, and the next thing we are going to do is to reorient our XYZ axis. And to reorient our XYZ axis is very simple. We're just going to mouse over. We are going to come to view and come to work plane tool. Then just you mouse over this section here. So our XYZ plane will pick the profile, the slope, or the slope of this section here. So I'll click on that spot. Once I've done that, I'll come to come to Control 2 right there, and come right click and come to interrupt, because the interrupt is appearing because there's a command we just performed and it's still active, so we have to terminate it. So if you come back here, we will be able to access a special copy. I'll come to mirror, and I want to mirror this component using these 2 points as our mirror line. So I'll click on that. So this is 89 and you need 90. No problem, you can always change that manually. So click on that and we have OK. Just close to us to accept that what has been created is perfect. So we have this in place. If you come to navigate, and you'll be able to rotate this. If you don't see the rotation point, just come to Control R and you'll be able to place your rotation point and rotate your component. So this is how you can do it. This is how you can do it, my friend. And it is always good if a fellow learns from you, and that is my interest. You learn. So this is how you can create it, and this is how our deck can be reinforced using this particular tool called CIP or SIP. So inside SIP we have other 3 macros or 3 tools that can help you create rebars. So I'll leave it on this spot, and this is how simple it is to place or to reinforce your concrete deck. So this section will be very simple. We just select all these components and define your mirror point or mirror line in the middle of in the mid here, and you mirror all the other rebars on the opposite direction. It is as simple as that, because it is back and forth and it is the same process. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel if this is your first time to bump into my channel, and if this is your first video you've bumped into, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Remember, doing so you help others find this video easily, and them also will be able to learn from this. It's always good to learn. And thanks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe once again, and bye bye. Let's meet then. I'm Morris Dimba, and let's keep on learning. Bye bye. Thank you.